Again, Jeff Foster. I'm here to speak about cultural intelligence. Just to give you an idea, I work for a company called Cross Border Express. We are an airport terminal for the Tijuana airport, but we exist in the United States. So you can see by my background and the picture on my slide here, a picture of our building and the bridge that connects us into the Tijuana airport. I've delineated the line between United States and Mexico in yellow there so that it made more sense. I've been in this location for about almost 2 years, and I put some more information about myself on the screen. I happen to be a principal with a company called AHZ Advisors. Most of my career has been in service, the service industries. I have experienced quite a shift in the way that I understand the world now due to the pandemic. So in service industry, there's a lot of personal touch, and the personal contact is the key to service, right? It's always been about the personal interaction. What I've learned during the pandemic is that we have to find a way to make that connection without the personal connection. At Cross Border Express, as I mentioned, an airport terminal, we have all of our workflow as passengers, and it's passengers that travel over the bridge back and forth. 2/3 of our staff is in the United States, 1/3 of our staff is in Mexico. So we have operations on both sides. That creates an interesting challenge for us because we have been in the office during the entire pandemic. We have been I shouldn't say that. The operational departments have been in the office since the pandemic, all through the pandemic, but the administrative functions have been done virtually. So what we've had to learn is how to manage service and a personal interaction in a virtual way. So it's been an interesting challenge for us, and I'll explain that a little more about how I approach that as we go through. One of the things that I've learned over my career is that the more I think I know, the less I actually know. So I spend a lot of time learning, and this pandemic has definitely been a good learning opportunity. So brief definition, right? So culture is the customs of a people or a social group. I'm calling cultural intelligence, or what I've coined as cultural intelligence, the awareness of international or internal cultures that cause changes in perceptions, interpretations, and interpersonal reactions. What I mean by that, I will explain as I move forward. Daniel Goleman, back in 1999, kind of gave 5 tenets, 5 pillars of emotional intelligence. They're here on the left-hand side of the screen. I have really, I would say, translated those into what I call cultural intelligence because of the binational company I work in, because of the pandemic and the change in personal interaction and what that means in today's post-pandemic world, what that's going to mean. So I've put some correlations here that I consider under the cultural intelligence category. So cultural intelligence is my own making. It is not scientific, nor is it a legally coined term. So it is my made up idea. But I believe that there's aspects of emotional intelligence that really translate to cultural intelligence, and why that's so important in today's world is because we have to do that personal interaction virtually. So in my experience over my career, I have learned a number of things. On the left-hand side, you'll see some of what I consider international cultural ideas. So things that we may take for granted in the United States could be considered very offensive in other cultures, right? So not only internationally, but internally. So in our organization, some of the admin side, some of the, everybody kind of has their own siloed focus on the world. And I'm not suggesting that's right or wrong. All I'm suggesting is being aware of that really has become much more important in a virtual world, because you have to be able to tailor your message to communicate it clearly without benefit of the personal interaction, the body language, and some of the things that we used to take for granted in personal interaction. So um, I use this concept of cultural intelligence to try to communicate, to try to be more successful, right? When I'm helping to mentor projects, when I'm driving projects of my own, when I'm trying to help people understand how to be successful in using process improvement in a post-COVID world. Many of times in the organizations I've worked with, understanding the culture in the organization, whether it's nationally, internationally, or internally, is most important in the conversations at the executive level, and that translates down through the organization. One thing I've learned in my career is you got to be patient, and no matter how patient you think you are, you need to be more patient. Patience is the key. Patience and persistence is always the key. So um, process change requires patience and understanding that is what I would say is masterful, and I've spent really a career trying to master that. Um, Additionally, every lean journey is different. So a lot of the organizations I worked for, where you are, the understanding of the concepts of lean methodology, the understanding of process improvement, and whatever methodologies you use, is at varied levels in the organization. It's important to understand that as you move through, because it'll impact your results. So that said, I give you 3 ideas that I think are important for your consideration. I think that all organizations contain a combination of experiences, right, that are unique based on the combination of people and places that you've been. I think that defines internal culture. I think that international companies add an additional layer of expectations to that. In my case, the way of doing business in Latin America is slightly different than the way of doing business in North America. And having awareness and understanding of those cultures is critical to success. So again, I'm not proposing that there's any right or wrong. What I am proposing is that understanding that there is cultural differences really can help improve your impact to the organization. So I like to open it to conversation. I think